The ultimate transformation. What I want to do is talk to you over the next few lessons about what I consider some of the most important information you can implement in your life. We call it the ultimate transformation. We need a whole new story for humanity. I was talking to my wife about this. We were driving somewhere and she says, why don't you call it humanity upgrade? And that's exactly, that catches the essence of what we're trying to do here, is we need a whole new level of thinking. And what I will promise you is this, that this new level of thinking will enhance every single aspect of your life. As a matter of fact, I think it's a precursor to any pursuit. This new, higher, transformative way of thinking is going to help you in your health, your finances, your relationship, your business, God, life, society, personal development, because this is what I think will help to give you the predictability you need in the transformation. Some people call it the change process. We're not going to call it that. In this evolutionary process of life. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to state a convincing case on 3 different levels. Number 1, what I'm going to convince you is that I have a good case that these are fundamentally different times in humanity. This is a fundamentally, completely different era for human beings. Physical evolution is over, and we are now in intellectual evolution. This is the age of transformation, and we're going to 3 lessons from now we're going to talk about why that is. Number 2, we need a whole brand new higher level of thinking to navigate the next 100 to 1,000 years. Einstein said it best, the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking that created them, and we're going to begin to explore this new mindset. We're going to create a new, higher mindset, and we're going to state a case for why this is important and how it's going to move us forward. And the problems I'll just outline quickly are this. Number 1, negativity bias. How do we come by it? Number 2, the prevailing cultural myth. Number 3, we consistently violate one of the 7 physical operating laws called the law of relativity. I'm going to explain that. And then finally, psychological time. The next thing we're going to discuss is how and why these are fundamentally different times. We are living in the greatest explosion, expansion, improvement in life in history, and we're going to explore that. And what I'm going to do is show you that these are fundamentally different times. And then finally, we're going to talk about this humanity upgrade. What is the new level of more accurate, more appropriate level of thinking that's going to get us beyond where we are now? I mean, this is inclusive of things like you've heard that in my opinion and my experience are unpredictable, like abundance factor, law of attraction. It includes all that, but it enhances it, moves it forward, makes it predictable. So what I want to do first is let's redefine what transformation is, and I'm going to do that as distinct from change. Change shows up as difficult, takes a lot of time, okay? And most important thing, you have to keep the problem present to work on it. You're always working on the problem. Transformation is a whole new higher level of thinking that gives you a completely different outlook on past, present, and future. What we want is we want transformation because in our life and in our society, because we are in the age of transformation. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, change no longer works. Our society is moving forward so rapidly, it no longer works. Well, let's do a little history lesson, and hopefully I can make this a little bit fun for you, because this comes from the roots of and a concept called big history. There's many big history people out there. Probably the most well-known is Yuval Harari, who wrote a book, Sapiens. Amazing book. And what it does is it creates a whole new context for where we came from, who we are, and why we are where we are right now. Stone Age was about 2.5 to 2.7 million years. These were brutally difficult times. We were not the apex of humanity. We were actually in the middle of the food chain. It was lions. It was a difficult time. As a matter of fact, our Homo erectus friend right here is looks like a happy guy, but you know, happy Homo erectus didn't make it very long. You see a lion off in the distance and you say, oh my God, you're an optimistic Homo erectus. And you go, oh my God, that is such a beautiful animal. Let's go over and say hello. Well, if you were that type of person, if you were optimistic, your genes were immediately extricated from the gene pool. The people who survived were the ones who were pessimistic, the ones who were not going petting lions for sure. So things actually got worse, okay? And this is, very few people are aware of this. This is in the National Geographic is doing a big study on this right now. It's really an amazing thing. But it's about 70,000 years ago, it was an ice age. Half of North America was covered with ice. The planet was relatively dry because ice shelves sucked water out of the planet. About 70,000 years ago, there was a nuclear winter. Now, this is not obviously not nuclear weapons, but it was a super volcanic eruption in Mount Toba in Sumatra. Not only did they have all the predators, famine, drought, now they had nuclear winter. Vegetation was dying, famine was even worse, animals were dying, and the human population dwindled to less than, some people say, 2,000 people. 70,000 years ago is a microsecond on the cosmic scale, on the evolutionary scale. It is such a short time ago. And when we look at people as different, we look at people that we're better than, one race is better than the next, it's nonsense. It is total BS because all of us came from these common 2,000 ancestors that over the next 50 or 60,000 years populated the entire planet. Some people call this the golden age of humanity. We were in harmony with the planet. We were designed for that. The Earth could support about 6 to 8 million people. We actually started causing destruction even prehistoric. About 90% of the large animals in Australia went extinct when humanity came on the scene. Same thing in North America. About 50% of the large animals they call megafauna went extinct. And here's where things get a little strange. So this is the golden age of humanity. You know, we live in perfect harmony with the planet, except for the big animals got a little hurt. We actually, about 10 to 15,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago, we started the Agrarian Era. What happens is that we started to collect in societies, and we had all those societal problems. And we went from living in concert with nature to all of a sudden backbreaking work. Working on a farm is backbreaking. We had in society, we started to have disease, conflicts, genocide, and 12,000 years ago, we still had all of the problems of famine, drought, tornadoes, volcanoes, etc., etc. These were difficult times, and the key in those times is that it was survival. The thing was survival, and you couldn't be optimistic. To survive, okay, you had to be careful at every turn of your life. A tooth abscess could kill you. A broken ankle could kill you. 33% of children didn't make it past the age of 5. The average life expectancy was 30 years. These were brutal, difficult, dangerous times. And the primary focus, our brains were wired for survival. It's no longer just about survival. It's about how we can thrive and be happy going forward. So we're going to move on to how the prevailing we talked about the evolutionary history. Next, we're going to go out to the prevailing cultural myth and how that began and the effects of that over the next 2,000 years.